Have you ever heard a story that just sends a shiver down your spine? One that makes you question what's really out there? Well, today we're diving deep into one of the most baffling military encounters of recent times. This isn't your typical war story. It's a tale of strange lights, unexplained radiation, and a mystery that continues to confound experts. Let's travel back to the rugged, war-torn landscape of Afghanistan, a place already filled with history and conflict. But something else was lurking in the shadows, something that defied all logical explanation. Our story begins in 1998, with a Special Forces squad on a routine patrol. These are highly trained soldiers, prepared for anything the enemy could throw at them. But they weren't prepared for this. As they moved through the desolate terrain, they came across a network of old, abandoned trenches. These weren't just any trenches. They were relics, silent witnesses, 2 decades of conflict. And from within one of these deep, dark ditches, something caught their eye. A faint, ethereal blue light was pulsing, casting an eerie glow against the earthen walls. What would you do? The soldiers, trained to investigate any anomaly, cautiously approached. Their first thought was that it might be a chemical light stick, maybe a flare, or some kind of marker left by another unit. But as they got closer, the light just vanished. It blinked out of existence, plunging the trench back into darkness. Confused, they swept the area. There was no discarded flare, no broken light stick, no power source. Nothing. It was as if the light had never been there at all. But their equipment told a different story. One of the soldiers was carrying a radiation detector, a standard piece of gear for monitoring potential threats. As they stood in the exact spot where the light had been, the detector started screaming. The needle jumped, registering a significant radiation spike. This wasn't just a minor reading. It was a level of radiation that was seriously alarming. They documented the readings, their confusion turning into genuine concern. Where was this radiation coming from? And what was the connection to that mysterious blue light? The squad reported the incident, and you can imagine the reaction from their superiors. A ghost light and phantom radiation? It sounded like something out of a science fiction movie, but the radiation readings were hard evidence. This wasn't a story. It was that. So, an investigative team was dispatched to the location to figure out what was going on. They arrived armed with more sophisticated equipment, ready to solve this bizarre puzzle. And just like before, as the team neared the trench, the blue light appeared again. They described it as a vibrant, deep blue, almost like a magnesium flare, but with a crucial difference. It didn't generate any heat. A flare burns intensely hot, but this light was cold. It pulsed gently, silently, with no smoke, no sound, and no combustion. The team tried to get closer, and once again, as soon as they approached, the light simply winked out. It was playing a game of cat and mouse with them, revealing itself from a distance but disappearing up close. This is where the story takes an even stranger turn. The team began a thorough analysis of the radiation data. They cross-referenced the specific isotopic signature with historical records. What they found was shocking. The radiation profile from that trench in Afghanistan was a near match to the radiation recorded after an atmospheric nuclear test conducted way back in 1963. Let that sink in. The radiation in this trench wasn't from a dirty bomb or spilled nuclear material. It had the exact fingerprint of a decades-old nuclear detonation. How is that even possible? A nuclear test signature showing up in a random trench in Afghanistan, decades later. The location had never been a known nuclear test site. The theories started flying. Could there be a hidden, unrecorded nuclear event? Was there some kind of natural phenomenon that could mimic this radiation? Or was it something else entirely? The mystery deepened. This wasn't just a strange light anymore. It was a radiological enigma wrapped in a historical puzzle. The military, understandably concerned, immediately cordoned off the area. It became a restricted zone, off limits to all personnel. Whatever was happening in that trench was deemed a potential threat, or at the very least, a phenomenon that needed to be contained until it could be understood. For years, the site remained under observation, a silent, forbidden spot in the middle of a war. The story of the blue light and the phantom radiation became something of a legend among the troops who knew about it. But the weirdness didn't stop there. As technology advanced, the military tried to get a better look at what was going on. They attempted to use remote cameras and drones to observe the light without triggering its disappearance. They set up surveillance equipment at a safe distance, hoping to finally capture clear footage of the phenomenon. And this is where it gets truly bizarre. Every single time a camera was pointed at the trench and the light appeared, the camera would malfunction. It would just shut off. Power down. The moment the blue glow emerged, the electronic eyes watching it went blind. Think about the implications. This phenomenon wasn't just visible light and radiation. It seemed to have an electromagnetic effect as well. It was capable of interfering with and disabling sophisticated electronic equipment from a distance. The light was actively preventing itself from being recorded. It was as if it didn't want to be seen, at least not by our technology. This elevated the mystery from strange to seemingly intelligent, or, at the very least, reactive in a way that defied our understanding of physics. What could possibly do all of this? Let's look at some of the theories, from the scientific to the speculative. One of the more grounded theories suggests a rare geological phenomenon. Could certain quartz-bearing rocks, when put under immense tectonic stress, produce light through something called tribal? This can happen, but it doesn't explain the specific nuclear radiation signature or the effect on electronics. It's a piece of the puzzle, but it doesn't complete the picture. Another theory points towards some kind of secret, advanced technology. Could this have been a test of a new type of weapon or surveillance device? Perhaps a radiological marker or a non-lethal weapon that uses directed energy. This would explain the localized effects and the disabling of cameras. But who would be testing such a device in an abandoned trench from the 1990s? And why would it perfectly mimic a radiation signature from 1963? It raises more questions than it answers. And then, of course, we entered the realm of the truly extraordinary. Could this be something not of this world? The term UFO is often thrown around, but it simply means an unidentified flying object. This wasn't flying, but it was certainly unidentified. The behavior of the light appearing and disappearing, its cold nature, its ability to shut down cameras is reminiscent of many classic UFO and paranormal encounters. The idea of an extraterrestrial probe or a portal to another dimension might sound far-fetched, but when conventional explanations fall short, you have to start thinking outside the box. The connection to the 1963 nuclear test is perhaps the most tantalizing clue. Some researchers in the ufology field have long proposed a link between nuclear activity and UFO sightings. The theory goes that extraterrestrial intelligences are monitoring our nuclear capabilities. Could the Afghanistan light be a long-term monitoring device, a sentinel left behind to watch over a specific area that was somehow reactivated or disturbed? It's a wild idea, but it weirdly connects the dots. The light, the specific radiation, and the seemingly intelligent behavior. To this day, the mystery of the Afghanistan trench light remains unsolved. The official reports are classified, and the area remains a place of intrigue and speculation. The soldiers who witnessed it were left with an experience they could never forget, a moment that shattered their understanding of the world. They went looking for an enemy they understood and found a mystery they couldn't comprehend. It serves as a powerful reminder that even in the most well-documented conflicts and on our very own planet, there are still things that defy explanation. There are still shadows that hold secrets. What do you think was happening in that trench? Was it a natural wonder? A secret military experiment? Or something from beyond? The evidence is fragmented. The story is shrouded in military secrecy. But the questions it raises are universal. It challenges us to wonder about the limits of our knowledge and the true nature of reality. It's a ghost story, a science fiction plot, and a military mystery all rolled into one, and its enduring power lies in the fact that it's all true. The blue light of Afghanistan is a puzzle waiting for its final piece. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into one of the military's strangest, unsolved mysteries. If you have any theories of your own, I would love to read them in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video if you found it fascinating, and subscribe to the channel for more explorations into the unknown. We'll see you in the next one.